All right, so you can admit it. We all have those teams in college football that we want to see do good. A few of mine are Nebraska, Michigan State, Virginia Tech, and Georgia Tech. And this is a year that I feel like Georgia Tech has the potential to be a really good or even great team that very few people, very few analysts are talking about right now. I've got a habit in the off season where I go back and watch games that happened in the season prior. There's always a few games from the previous season that fascinate me and stick out to me. And one of those games that I've watched over and over this offseason and have analyzed and picked apart is the Georgia Tech Georgia game in Athens, Georgia on Thanksgiving Friday, the 8 overtime thriller. It's such a fascinating game, such an intriguing game on so many levels. Because for 3 quarters, Georgia Tech was kicking Georgia's ass. And Georgia, as we all know, proceeded to go on and win the ACC championship the week after. But nonetheless, Georgia Tech, who had battled them better than people would have expected in past years, they came into Athens last November. And they made a statement in the first 3 quarters. And of course, Georgia worked their magic, tied the game up. It went to overtime. They went back and forth. And Georgia ended up winning in triumphant fashion in 8 overtimes and proceeded to win the SEC championship. But what intrigues me about this game is how Georgia Tech played. Because they played out of their minds. I mean, they were very complete. They were very disciplined. They executed very well. They maximized their potential. And I have news for you. I think that the version of Georgia Tech that we saw displayed in that matchup with Georgia back in November, I think that that's really who they are going into this year. I think that's their identity. Because go look back last year. I mean, they had that week 1, or technically week 0, victory in Ireland over Florida State. We saw what Florida State went on to do, but at that time, it was a high-octane matchup. Florida State was ranked. And they took down Miami. They gave Miami their first loss last year. They played everybody hard. Georgia Tech was one of those teams. They're not an easy out, but it felt like something was starting to come together late in the season last year. Like that Georgia game, it felt like an upset, but I think that Georgia Tech was a better matchup than a lot of people, including myself, expected to be with Georgia in that game. To head coach Brent Key's credit, Georgia Tech plays with a swagger. They play with a tenacity that's a prerequisite, if you will, to competing for a championship. There's just a certain edge that them guys in the A play with. And that's what's needed to maximize your potential. Like that's how you overperform as a team, is when you have that confidence, you have that swagger, you have that aura about you. And everything gels right, everything congenializes right with the team. And we started to really see that with Georgia Tech last year. And I think we're going to see it translate into this year as well. This is going to be one of the titans of the ACC. I'm telling you right now, like, you're going to have Clemson down the stretch. You're going to have Miami down the stretch. You're going to have Louisville. You may have SMU somewhere in the mix. But Georgia Tech is going to be right up there with your Clemsons, your Miamis. This is a legitimate team. Clemson plays Georgia Tech early on in the season. And I think that you're going to see a similar result to that Georgia game. I'm not going to predict a winner, but they're going to go toe-to-toe with Clemson, who I think is one of the best teams in college football. And that's a testament to who Georgia Tech is. Let's talk about what's under the hood for the Yellow Jackets this year. So, quarterback Haynes King is coming back. And he's somebody for a while. Like, I didn't really know what to expect. I saw him at A&M, and like there were some glimmers of greatness there, but it was inconsistent, kind of all over the place. Now you're seeing Haynes King develop into the quarterback that he's always supposed to be. And going into this season, he's more mature, more seasoned than ever. I think he's going to have a hell of a year. And you've also got running back Jamal Haynes, who was a factor last year, returning. So you've got the Haynes combination. That's an NIL deal, if I ever saw one. Georgia Tech's NIL Collective. I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but y'all, let's get the ball rolling on that. There's a business opportunity for you, given by your very own Brian Gregoire. The Haynes NIL deal. But you have those two guys coming back. That is a fantastic tandem. Both lines look great. The defense looks fantastic. Georgia Tech was very active in the portal this offseason. And so even though they lost a few guys, they were able to keep up with the roster churn and bring some replacements in. And so I think that there's a firm foundation from a roster standpoint for Georgia Tech this year. And Georgia Tech's schedule, despite the fact that, yes, you've got those heavyweights on there. You've got Clemson on there. You've got Georgia on there. You've got a very interesting Week 1 matchup with Colorado. That's one that really fascinates me. But I like the Yellow Jackets by probably 2 possessions in that game. We'll break it down as it gets closer. Outside of those 3 games, Georgia Tech is a very manageable schedule, which like I talked about in the Illinois video. That's huge when it comes to making a run. I think Georgia Tech's going to be in the mix late in the season for a spot in the ACC championship. And if all goes well, possibly for a spot in the college football playoff. But to cap it all off and summarize here, this is a well-coached team. Brent Key has done a great job at establishing a culture that guys buy into and identify with. This Georgia Tech team has been, if you watch them closely, they seem to gel more and more each and every week. And this is the year, 2025, that I think the stars could align. You could see this team really go like this, skyrocket. I think they may be exponentially better than they were last year. And they could make that leap from good and progressing to great and competing for a conference championship. This is a very intriguing team to me this year. I'm doing a lot of research on Georgia Tech, and they really pop off the page. I can't wait to see what these Yellow Jackets do. But all of y'all in Atlanta, all of you Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket fans and fans of any other team out there, please let me know what y'all think about this take of Georgia Tech being a major dark horse and a team that nobody sees coming, but damn it, they're going to be there. Let me know what you think about that take in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day.